Fab is here, taking over the show right now. Ebro in the morning. I think it's only right that we give you this entire hour, sir.
I mean,
damn.
I think I'm deserving of an hour. You know, I didn't want to say it on the comment, like, you know, I just thought that maybe y'all would figure that out.
I mean, I'm up on it. Okay. I know what Fab means in this town. I mean, but do you think, let's get right into it. Do you feel like everybody gives you your respect, Fab?
I feel like
other rappers, the scene here of New York, hip hop in general.
I feel like sometimes there's respect shown. I feel like sometimes it's on the fence, and I feel like sometimes people are forgetful of how much has been done, or even when sometimes they'll hear a verse and be like, oh yeah, Fab, you know, no, this is something I've been doing for a long time. This is not. Why
do you think that is? Why do you think there's some
maybe I'm not as vocal, or maybe I'm not as I don't have like a gimmick to my, you know, I'm not animated, I'm not, you know,
screaming and yelling at people, having beefs all the time.
I'm not boasting it, I'm not making as much. I'm really more about the moves more than about the announcements.
What does that mean when you said the moves?
Like making moves. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what my 2015 is gonna be about. # moves. Like I wanna, when you see it, be like, wow, that's a move. When you see, you know, let me pull up. When you see Jay-Z do a thing with Samsung, that's a move.
Oh, got it.
When you see Fab do this, when you see
it's a move. Fab in the Beats commercial. It's a move.
Yeah. So that's what I'm about, moves. As far as my brand, you know, music, I'm going to continue to do what I do musically. I think that I've been able to do what I do musically for a long time. There hasn't really been anybody that you could really say has been a Fab. You know, there's people you might say have little.
So you feel like you're one and only?
I would say so. I feel like
based on what though?
Based on what I do.
Like your style, your music, your hits,
my music, my longevity, my what I've meant to a city as big as New York City. There's a lot of things that go on in New York City, so it's hard for you to be a guy that people can point out of millions of people here.
And you can add to that real quick. Sorry, Fab has not gotten. He's been in the game a long time now. When you add it up, you're talking about almost 15 years, and has not gotten remotely desperate. It's never been like, oh, Fab put out a project, but
thirsty.
Yeah,
looking
like
nuts.
He hasn't put out like that brick.
I've never looked stale.
He's never gotten stale. That's exactly what I was looking for.
I've never looked crusty out here.
he looks 22 years old.
It's just, you know, you have to salute that.
The man responsible for millions of Americans spelling the word fabulous wrong.
You know, I see that tweet a lot. Like, you know, I failed a spelling bee because of.
They're blaming you?
Yeah,
why? But why though?
Ridiculous.
Why did you? Although you know what? Now I can't even picture if you did do it with a U, it would look nuts. But why did you initially spell your name like
Fabulous,
that?
First of all, it was
fabulous.
I know that sounds great.
First of all, it has a better ring saying Fabolo.
That's for sure.
Fabulo does not have the same ring.
Bars.
Number one. Number two is just to be able to distinguish Fabolous the rapper from Fabolous the word. You know, because if you had the U in there every time you search for my name,
Fab,
you know what I mean?
Fab,
you
keep
think
100.
deep into this.
Fab, you didn't think that far into it when you
Definitely
was ghetto
did.
Fabulous.
Google wasn't even a thing yet.
There's no way.
It wasn't, but it was still separating the word.
Yo, Fab, in the late 90s, right? Spelling things wrong was just, we just did it, just cuz.
You definitely did, but I definitely thought about
all right, fair enough.
Your name being a word. That's another thing too. That everybody's name isn't. Ludacris is not spelled ludicrous.
Good point.
So,
it would be hard to find him if you Google Fabulous.
When you have a name that's just your name, you can spell it however you want. But if you have a name that's an actual word, then your name gets caught up in the word. You know what I'm saying?
So we were just talking a minute ago about you feeling like people don't respect your body of work. The time in, the way you rap for the city.
I think I feel like they forget.
Take you for granted.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's Hove's fault? Do we blame Hove for that?
I can't.
You think Hove casts a shadow on you, the Brooklyn thing? You're from Brooklyn?
I don't. I think Hove actually opens a door for, you know what I'm saying, the Brooklyn MC as a whole. I think, you know, it's almost a torch, not that it's passed down, but it's just, you know, let's just say like if you hold a torch up, it brightens the room. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what Hov did as a whole, and Big did that for Jay as well. Unfortunately, Big passed as well, and then Jay had to like pick up the torch. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Jay has opened up a lot of doors as a Brooklyn MC alone. You know what I'm saying? And then what he's done further than that is of course is a big deal.
What's that relationship like, you and Hov? You guys talk? Do you ever reach out? You guys ever share strategy?
Yeah, I mean we talk. We I mean just you personally, you've seen us in the same room and have conversation, but overall we just have a cool relationship, and it's grown to that. You know what I mean? At first when I would see Jay, we didn't have, especially in the 90s, that's when you was more to yourself and everybody was.
He thought you was coming for his slot. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He had to give you the Heisman back then. He couldn't
I
let
like
you feel
all
comfy.
artists was low key like that back then. Jay now will work a room. He come in, he speaks to everybody.
Smile, laughs a lot.
Before he was like just did his little thing and
he hits with the live ad lib in person too.
That's really what you got from him. Even in interview, I'm sure.
He's better in well, even on stage, Jay-Z's stage show from what it was in the 90s.
Everything is, and that time, I'm telling you, every artist was more like that, like give you a dap and just look at you up, and like what I'm saying. It was like, and it was a New York thing too. I think too. Yeah. New York is very standoffish when it comes to like being cordial and.
Well, here's the thing that I would wonder about that with that Brooklyn ego, which is its own unique thing altogether.
Well, you got black male ego times Brooklyn ego.
Multiply that, double it times 3, like
times
Foxy
New
would
York
say.
City.
So, at a certain point,
but Biggie didn't really have that though. Biggie had this charisma though.
He was fun.
That
laughed a lot, cracked jokes.
It shocked me that Biggie knew my name. One time I came to a video shoot and people were like around him trying to get him to hear me and hear my stuff.
How old were you at this time?
I had to be in my teens, maybe like
16,
17, 18, yeah.
Clue you'd already with Clue at this point?
This was even before Clue. This was just like Brooklyn homies who knew Big and, we hang around and, Big was doing his thing, of course. I might have even been younger, but I came in the room and he was just like Sport, because that's what my hood nickname was. And I was just like, wow.
Can we call you Sport? I want to call you Sport.
It's the nicest name. It sounds like
Sport sounds. What's up, Sport?
Let's leave it to Big.
Sounds young.
Was that it though? He just said Sport. He just picked you up.
Just the acknowledgement knows that he, you know what I'm saying, and something like as little as that for somebody who's a teenager coming from Biggie. That's little things that you could do that shows, you know what I'm saying, either not that you just paying attention, but just that you care. You know what I'm saying? That you know what I mean, showing love. And a lot of people don't do that, and especially in that. Big was big.
Do you make sure to do that now to younger artists?
I try to, yeah. I try, even when I see artists, I congratulate them off the rip.
Troy Ave, Brooklyn Cats.
Definitely.
Troy.
You know what I'm saying? I was one of the first people to, work with Troy Ave.
Yeah, he jumped on multiple.
Yeah.
So, but even just beside from working with, just even when I see you in passing, I congratulate you for what you've done. It's hard for cats to even get in the same room or get to where they are. So, you know what I'm saying? So I always congratulate guys and let them know that you salute them at what they're doing and appreciate what they're doing.
Some artists I think feel threatened. You know what I'm saying? You're probably comfortable in where you are in your career, the amount of time in, your skill set. Some artists are real insecure about that, so they don't congratulate or even give a little nod or a little help. Helping word.
It comes from both places too, because some young cats coming in like
don't acknowledge.
Yeah, you supposed to salute me, nigga. I'm doing my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Those are my favorites. I love those guys.
Like, shit,
I do.
You ain't really did nothing yet, really. I just was trying.
That's my next statement. I love those dudes. I'd be like, yo, fam, if you're here in 6 months, then maybe.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you though. Before we got that awesome Biggie story, but with Hov, do you feel that Hov, in a Jordan-esque way, right? Like there was a time when at the beginning there were other cats with Jordan. They're like, yeah, I got Michael. I seen Michael. When I see Michael, I school Michael. And then like 5 years later, it was like, I'm not even going to say that Michael and I are the exact same. He does his thing and he's the greatest, and I'm out here doing my thing. Do you feel like that? Do you think Hov is in his own separate stratosphere to a certain degree?
Yeah, I think there's, Jay-Z is not just like a New York rapper or a Brooklyn rapper, especially at this point. He's an icon in the game. You have to look at his track record of work he's done, his moves he's made as a businessman, and you know, he's done a lot for hip hop and the advancement of hip hop. He's done moves that weren't done before in hip hop. He's, you know, he's opened the door for, you know, other artists to do things in that similar light just because he was being able to do it on his terms. So, you know, I definitely, you know, put him in a place that, you know, you don't just look at him as the average artist. He brings so much more to the table.
Look, Fab is here. It's Ebro in the morning. Laura Stylez, Rosenberg. Fab, you want to get on the whole record?
The one
is there a record that you want to put on Brooklyn?
That was a big one.
Cool.
It was. By the way, people like that song. It was a hit.
It still rings off.
It's kind of tight.
Rings off. The Brooklyn anthem of the Nets. You know, it goes Brooklyn.
It's it, right?
That comes from that song.
Yes.
So seeing that, you know, that's always gonna be in place within their team. So that's like you left a piece
Tagged
of you
your name
on,
a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
And it's got the one and only Uncle M on it.
oh yeah.
Is he still going with that, by the way?
You know what's a funny story about that?
I'm calling him Murda.
Stories that was supposed to have been Lil Kim in that Uncle Murda slot.
Really?
And but Jay had just signed Uncle Murda, so he, you know, was giving him a lane too.
I think people forget that Hov has put mad Brooklyn rappers on.
And let's talk. I mean, and at the moment, it really was big too, because Murda was just starting to get buzz, but that verse was the biggest thing he'd done by a mile.
Yeah, I mean, you need those looks too. So I understood even the J move of it, especially, you know, like.
Is there a Kim verse that happened though?
Nah, we just was like I had planned it was to be me, Hov, and Kim, like in the planning of it.
What's this new project you got coming out? What is this?
The new project is called the Young OG Project. It's actually some music that I put together. I was working on Loso's Way too, actually, and a lot of joints started coming about. They were either flips from joints from the 90s, or they were inspired, or they sounded like they had a 90s vibe or bounce to it. And, you know, I wanted to get out something before the year was over. And so I said, why not I just take these joints that are sounding collectively as a project in their own.
They're cohesive. They have a thing.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was kind of hard for me to put it with Loso's Way too, because it was different energies there. So it sounded like it was going all over the place. So these songs kind of married into each other, and then that's where that project came
Who's
from.
featured on the album? It's an album.
Yeah, it's an album. Chris Brown is featured on there.
Why'd you say it like that? Like it's an album?
No, because some people thought it was a mixtape.
What's the difference?
This is for sale on iTunes.
I don't understand that either.
Mixtapes sell on iTunes all the time.
Good
Like
point.
there's a certain titling that everybody puts. Like if it's an album, it's stronger than a mixtape,
Not
or
true.
if it's a mixtape, it's like lesser quality than an album.
That's not true either sometimes.
And when I go in to make either one, I'm making a body of work, and I'm want it to be judged in the same light as like it's a good body of work. So I don't have those same, but I've seen everybody ask the same question, like, is it a mixtape, is it an album? And I'll be like, well, whether it's either or, how does that change the
How about
opinion
is
of
it
the work?
good and
Right.
please listen to it and like it?
So who's on it? So we have Chris Brown, you said?
Chris Brown, we got Rich Homie Quan is on there. We got French Montana is on there. We got a couple new guys on there as well. Velas, a girl by the name of Tish Hyman, who's from the Bronx, and she's really dope talent.
She's rhyming, singing.
She's singing. She does her own thing where she sings, raps, everything. But on my song,
So you giving some young cats looks.
Yeah.
I always give young cats
True,
looks.
true.
Well, I don't know if everybody checks the credits, but I like to give, you know, the young producers a shot too. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of young producers I work with on the mixtape tip. So when it's time for albums, I'm not gonna say, all right, I'm gonna run over here and get these big name producers. I would give y'all a shot too, to a chance to make some money, to, you know, get your pub game up, whatever need be, even just to be on a solid project. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the fair thing to do, especially if a guy gave you beats for free for your mixtape. Why not, you know, when you do an album, you're gonna say, all right, I'm gonna go over here and get some Pharrell beats.
You did something really cool. One of the girls that works was telling me where you revealed the album cover if they entered like
Into a beeper.
Yeah, it's a virtual beeper.
Yeah.
How does that work?
They text their number into this beeper, and then it replies back to them with the album cover.
That's tight.
It was cool for the real quick, but then once people start posting it online, then
It's like, yeah.
yeah,
No longer
then
perfect.
everybody just screenshots it. Nobody has to beep anything.
So for a long time, well, not a long time. I've known Fab for a while, but periodically, I would say maybe 3 years ago, you and I started getting in our Twitter debates.
Oh, God.
Because Fab was equally unhappy with the state of New York rap.
Yeah, I just think the support here isn't, and I felt like even the DJs are feeling like it's more cool for them to play out of town stuff and to big up everything else going on rather than it just became cooler to do that.
Yes, it did.
Like, for them to break an Atlantic record here.
But here's what it was. Let's have real talk. DJs was getting gigs out of town and to move around in those other cities.
They'll go down to Atlanta, hear a record that's bubbling down there, and
try
think
to bring
they
it
come
back
here and be like, I'm the first one who played it in the... But there's records here.
But they also needed that so that they could go down there and work. Because I was told that to a certain extent.
But they're not booking a New York DJ to come down there and play South records.
Exactly.
Right. Don't they want to
make sense?
So let me ask you this: are you happy with where things are today?
It's in a better place. I still feel like they need to represent just our sound and not even a particular artist. Just represent the sound a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? I think there's guys who are making better records and New York records, but I just think that it's not just about making New York records or representing New York artists, just representing the sound. Each town, each city has a sound. Or
what does that mean to you, a New York record?
It means something that sounds like it. Like, to me, Lituation sounds like a New York record.
Meaning like sonic, but you're talking about you're talking about sonics, right? You're talking about the actual sound of the instrumentation in the songs,
right?
Not just the bars. Because sometimes people say it's a New York record because of the type of rapping and bars that are in the song.
That's a part of it too.
But that is a part of it. But it's also about the music, right?
Yep, definitely about the music, definitely about the bars, definitely about the style and the cadence of the record as well. You know what I'm saying? Cuffing Season to me, even though it was, some parts of it was very playful, but it had a New York sound to it, and it cut the cake because there was no records even sounding like that.
That's right.
I remember 50 Cent doing interviews at the time and saying that he loved that record was being accepted because it allows him to make records in that vein. Because if you listen now, if you don't got no auto tune or no 808s, you're not getting played in the club. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for a New York artist or rapper to make a record in that vein when they're not gonna get the avenue to be played.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes you go and have
to play. And the clubs, and talk about it. New York City's changed a lot.
Yeah,
even
definitely. It's the whole generation.
There is no big club. Where is the big club? Everything's a little lounge, and then the strippers is the A&Rs, right? If the stripper wants to dance to a specific record, and she gonna turn up, and that's gonna make her more money, then she's gonna put that record on, and the DJ's gonna put that record on for her.
But it's a transition of how that's became. You know what I'm saying? So once those records are the only records that they're playing and the only sound that they're playing, then that's what get received, and the DJs really are supposed to be the people that put the music out to to what you hearing. Not now it's become like they looking out there to see what everybody's moving to that they already be moving and just play that.
Not our brother Rosenberg, and you don't even give him props, Fab. Y'all got beef.
Well, but that's my fault. I haven't given him.
Even when I make those
I have given him some. I got to tell you, myself included, sort of took the Soul Tape for granted.
And he also loves the underground. Maybe I'm a little too famous for him.
He's
like,
really
I got
famous.
too many Instagram followers or something for him.
Way too many.
You dress too nice. You don't live at home with your mom.
I have jewelry and shit.
That.
Like I have iced out watches. Like
I'm not.
It just goes against his whole.
I'm not denying it. Fab is.
And he feels like his bass. Like, why are you playing that Fab, man? You can't. It becomes that.
But
but
here's the thing. It's a little bit complicated because yes, on the surface, you're right. There have probably been times when I don't naturally gravitate towards a new Fab record because I assume it's just going to instantly be in regular rotation. But what I was about to say was the fact of the matter is a lot of people, myself included, have taken for granted how, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but how much Fab has really made music for hip hop fans. Like the Soul Tape was really the kind of fans that the kind of music that nerds who sit around loving Pete Rock and DJ Premier and all Jay Dilla, that was really a tape for them. Soul samples.
And I got my mainstream fams to
listen to it, which is exactly what we want.
Now Fab's anger about the whole DJ support, he wasn't even hitting me because it wasn't like we weren't supporting him.
No, it was about the whole thing overall.
It was about the whole thing. Fab gets support. He was really he hits me like, yo, what the fuck's going on with my city? And I'm always like, the music, now you gotta admit this, some people have trashy music.
Right. Certain people,
So just
'cause
because
people
you
don't
have
put a lot of
bars-
quality into their music.
Well,
too.
they don't know how to work with other people who have skills that they don't. Everybody thinks it's a do-it-yourself game, right? Every rapper also wants to be a producer or uses mans in them who ain't that good.
And they don't think of the gradual steps it takes to get there. So somebody can make a record yesterday, come to you, and they're like, Ebro, you supposed to play this right now.
Is there anyone that
This
you're
is
really
the biggest record in the city.
You just
And
made
you
it
just
in your
like,
bedroom
yo.
yesterday.
Is there anyone, we know you've worked with Troy Ave before, is there anyone else of the new New York cats that you do see a lot of potential for?
Yeah, what do you think about Bobby Shmurda?
I like Bobby Shmurda's energy. I like what wave he brings to New York music. I'm a guy who stems off lyricism.
His lyrics
So-
ain't all the way there yet.
Yeah, nah, but that's not what his thing is. So you know, and I understand what he does. He brings what he does to the table, and his energy is good. And even as a person, like I've developed a relationship with him, so I know him personally. You know what I'm
Fun
saying?
dude, wants to have fun all the time.
Good,
yeah.
Really good dude, and coming from where he come from, he's even understand. He sat with me and like, yo, I don't know certain things. You know what I'm saying? I need guys like you to, come in and show me certain things, and which is cool, and because there's not a lot of young cats who do that. A lot of young cats just want to, go out there and they're gonna live off the experience, and they're gonna have some problems. They're gonna have and he's one of the guys that's said to me like, yo man, I'm just trying to get everything together. I got this record, it's bubbling, but it's not just about me running around, just looking like I don't care, because I do care. You know what I'm saying? This is changing my life, and I want to, make the most of it.
Anyone that you are a fan of though, that lyrically you're like that you gravitated towards their music?
I like a couple guys in spurts. I've heard some, and I don't hear it that much either. Like it has to come across my radar, but I've heard like stuff from Joey Bada and Action Bronson.
Those were the two I was waiting for. I was curious about those guys specifically.
Yeah, I get tastes of that. Troy Ave was a little closer to me because of, I actually met Troy Ave through Tahiri. And like I said, I'm a relations guy, so it's built off of our relation of how we go further, and like people can just walk up to me and say, "Yo, I want to do a song," and we just do a song.
Yeah, you gotta know you gotta know their story, where they coming from.
I gotta
their
feel
whole
you
shit,
out,
yeah.
pause, and know that you a good dude or a solid dude, or we got something that we we
Makes
can
sense.
build off or make sense. And Troy's came through Tahiri. She was cool with Troy, and I remember somewhere I was moving, and Troy just even like when I was leaving, he was like, "Yo, just walk you to your car and just make sure you good." You know what I'm saying? You dolo, and you know what I'm saying? He didn't have to really do that, and I wasn't even looking for it to be done, but just even so it was a small little thing that just was in play, because people don't do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who don't know you, like you don't care about if they, you know what I'm saying? So I always look at little things like that, even from the very start of, what I'm saying, when I was leaving Tahiri's restaurant, and he was there, and he was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna just walk Fab out to his car, make sure he's good." You know what I'm saying? And
Troy's a guy who I don't think it comes across necessarily every time he talks how much he cares about the music. He's arguably the most respectful up and coming artist I've ever dealt with. I don't think anyone else has sent me more gratitude, for anything that I've ever done. Like that is the kind of guy he really is. It almost goes against actually sort of what his character might be.
He loves guys though from the roots that he could, like, you know what I'm saying?
Who's
Like
this, Rosenberg?
he like that's one of the reasons he loves Troy and why he doesn't fuck with me is that
So this is ridiculous.
now
we're going too far.
I'm not from the roots. Like
Nah,
he
you're not.
can't discover and
That's true. I was I missed it. I was young.
So I get it. So I
Such
really
a lie, by the
understand
way. By the way, no, I'm too busy playing your music everywhere I have a party. You act like you needed my help. You don't need me. I'm just little old
I need
Rosenberg.
everyone's help.
All right, listen. Tell me this then. On this Young OG project, which is the song for me? Which is the one that I'm gonna be like, yo, Rosenberg's gonna fuck with this song?
You probably will mess with Going for the Winter. You probably will.
What's the
mess
beat
with,
sound like? Does it sound like it was made in 1993?
Well, that one's an
Recorded
actual.
Jazzy beat?
That one's
Is
an
there a
actual
horn?
flip. So I don't know if he's gonna hate it because I
What'd you
flipped
flip?
a Nas. I flipped Nas represent.
Hold on.
So-
now.
Okay, hold on now.
He has a Uchiwali remake with Chris Brown. He's not gonna play that.
I'm not fucking with the Uchiwali one.
Yeah.
Represent. Now that sounds up my alley.
There's a part 2 rendition of Young OG, which came from the Soul Tape 3, but we did it over and we added a second verse. I think you'll rock with that.
Will you give
but
me?
It's one thing that the '90s had too was a lot of diversity within the music, and that's what I did with the project too. I didn't want it to. A lot of people think like it's gonna sound like Soul Tape or gonna sound like other mixtapes that I did in the past. This is its own project, and the '90s has so much diversity where you could have backpack rap or gangster rap or flossy Biggie kind of rap or so it was so many different elements, and I wanted that to be in a project too. I wanted you to have different vibes with different songs and enjoy it that way. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's good music overall for people to be able to listen, but it's different vibes in there where somebody who's on a certain type of vibe, like let's say those 2 songs, I know will go directly to him.
Why does the word lituation bother you so much?
Lituation. Let's talk about it.
Lituation is a lit situation.
Right. It's a young word.
It's a brituation.
It's a young word.
Excuse me?
It's a brituation.
What are you talking about?
Brittany Sky was the first person I heard say lituation.
Yeah.
She claimed, she took credit for it.
Fab, are you stealing from the very young and pretty Brittany Sky on this song?
I wouldn't say I stole it from her,
But you may have heard it from her.
but I heard her say it, but I've heard other people say
definitely.
it too. It wasn't the
I
first
know those
time I heard it.
B.I.C. kids from the Bronx say it too.
They
all
say
on.
it too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give her credit, man.
But
I wanted to give her a little
it's like a
brituation.
word that floats around. Of course, people will take it in different other. You know how you could bring something to a room, but you invented it like they got it from there, but you could have got it
you
from
took
something.
it from
It's
somewhere.
one of them kind of things. You know what I'm saying? You can see it online somewhere, but nobody really knows about. Like people are gonna say that I invented it because I brought it to.
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
forefront
You
of
did,
it.
But as long,
You know what I'm
you
saying?
invented it. As long as we know you stole it.
Right.
But that's true of everything. Every major word in hip hop, like, was invented by someone else, and then the rapper
You don't
makes
think
it big.
Jay has like
Oh
Yes.
my!
coined
Jay's
key
list.
phrases of things that
Yo,
he's
Benjamin
peeped from
shot
somewhere
calling,
else?
big ballin' was Bay Area slang.
Yeah.
When that happened on the Benjamins, we was like, how, what? They just take it.
But the funny thing is, you probably thought that, but the OGs probably had already said those words. Like, they probably got it from people who were like, "Oh yeah, we knew we gave that to Puff." Like
No, wait, but you don't really give slang anymore. Like that was a thing, remember?
left
In
them
the
in the
90s,
past.
it was regions had slang.
Slang,
and
right.
if you use that slang, it was like, yo, who gave you that?
Slang
How
now
you
is
know about
all
that?
blended into
Yeah.
like people in New York say trapping, and it's
all-
a different
it's a mess.
whole thing now. Like
and slang also now always becomes, because of the internet, it becomes instantly like
right.
ironic.
That's why it's no more region cutoffs,
Right.
because the internet has
social media.
blurred the line of where there's no Mason-Dixon line to
There's
anything
nothing, but
anymore.
no, and not only that, but like if you're a kid who's on the internet a lot and you're kind of cool, you use every slang word
Right.
in a snarky, sarcastic way. Like, I mean, Brittany's the perfect example. Like, Brittany, someone on Snapchat or thing will be like, "Yo, trapping," and it's like at a pizza place. Right? That's not trapping. You're eating pizza right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just
In the trap.
They took it, yeah.
like that's not what a trap is.
Credit card scamming is trapping, like in Brooklyn, like that's trapping.
No, and it's like, no, it's not. That's a much safer version than a trapping.
Actually, if you're gonna pick something in crime,
it's a way-
go with swiping, not you know what I mean?
way easier.
Swiping is trapping to them, and trapping from the Young Jeezy era was actually selling birds of kilos of cocaine.
Yeah.
But as it's translated through our generation, there's not many people probably selling that many keys of cocaine anymore, so they've translated it into just some form of hustle.
Yo, I'm trapping. What does that mean? I'm just home watching episodes of Sons of Anarchy.
In
That's not
the-
trapping.
in the trap.
or work at Hot 97 at the trap.
Whoa.
Exactly. Yo, at the
Now,
I'm
wait a
sure
minute,
people.
wait a minute. High 97
Is the trap?
is the trap.
Oh, man.
Well,
Try-
look at our
try
chairs.
getting out. Try getting out.
So then that just obliviates our whole description of trapping being used
Obliterates.
in the wrong form.
Obliterates. You just confused the shit out of me.
Why? Because he obliviates.
Because he can change it to
Oh yeah,
obliviates.
I fumbled the
obliterate.
word.
Yeah, you're too
Don't
good at
worry
wordsmithing. I got you, Fab.
Fab.
Yes.
Battle rap. Let's get to it. You're very, very enthusiastic about battle rap. Fab's
Yeah.
taking over the show.
You are? You're a big
Ebro in the
fan?
morning. He's a huge fan.
I like battle rap.
No, he's a huge fan. Goes. I saw you at
Been
Total
to-
Slaughter.
yeah,
Yeah.
been to
Who did
matches.
Cassidy just battle?
Disaster.
Disaster. Did you
I didn't
watch
catch that
You
one.
didn't watch it. It
I
was
didn't catch
horribly
that one.
executed, I'm told. I didn't watch it either, but I heard Cassidy tore him up.
Right. I heard it was done at first and then stopped and then they redid it and
The Cassidy's people started hooting and hollering a little bit when Disaster was trying to go, and then it got shut down, and then they reconvened the next day in a private location.
which is crazy.
And they did it again. And then I gotta say, when they did it again, though, I was very impressed by Cassidy's performance. But there's still some work that needs to be done on the whole presentation.
Where's Fab at in your, now that you have artists who had some success putting out music, right, and have gone back to that battle scene? It obviously makes you understand how big that battling thing is, and it's good to see them go and jump in that arena. Probably because they, you know, somebody like Cassie, I know he's doing it for the bread. He was pretty transparent
it's
about
a
that.
lane if you need it. Yeah, if you
The
need
chicken. If
he was doing it for the chicken.
Watching grown black men argue about chicken's a whole other conversation.
He's getting the chicken
later. But Fab, would you ever step into this battle thing?
I don't think I need to step in that lane.
It's not for you.
It's not for me. I'm just a fan of what it is. I'm sure people figure that I could be a battle rapper because I'm words savvy, or as you just said, I'm too good with words to mess up words. But you know, I could mess up a battle just as easily, and it's just not my lane. You know what I'm saying? I think Cassidy also came from battling. You know, one of the first times we saw Cassidy was him battling Freeway and stuff like that. So it was always, I guess, probably second nature, or maybe even first nature.
That's
being
what he
an
said.
artist
He said it was actually
nature.
something that comes very easy. To, it's hard work, but it comes easy.
Right. So, you know, I think that was cool for him. And it also opens up a lane for him as well. As, you know what I'm saying? It's another way to eat and another way for him to showcase his, you know, lyrical skills.
Do you have any favorites, these battle MCs? Anybody that you particularly feel like?
I like T-Rex. I like Conceited. He has bars. I like Hollow the Dawn.
Cat's days are getting made right now.
I like Mook, of course. I like Lux.
Lux took some L's here recently, though.
Yeah, Lux took a L against Mook, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a big battle, and that was a big. It was even a big battle the first time it happened. You know, that was one of the first battles that got me into battle rap. Just saying, and it wasn't this platform either of, you know, of course it's evolved, but you know, that was in like a store in Harlem, you know what I mean?
Well, they used to,
rolling,
just
you know what I'm
at a clothing store.
And there was nothing.
Mad T-shirts
that was at
in
its
the background.
purest right there. That's how Rosenberg likes it. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
exactly.
Pause.
I'm there.
That's
The basement.
see, you agreed to it before you even.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I saved you, and you just jumped right in there. Like pause.
Yo,
how he likes
Rosenberg's pause worthiness is well documented. Have you seen his and LL Cool J's battle?
Oh my God.
Nah.
LL Cool J called Rosenberg a meatball. Out of the blue, we didn't even know. LL just feels like he's a meatball.
He kind of is a meatball, but go ahead.
Fair enough. Fab knows me. It's different.
Then LL, or Rosenberg anyway, we threw some beats on, and Rosenberg had some choice words for LL Cool J.
Damn right I did.
And they were pause-worthy.
Very pause-worthy.
I mean,
Would you like to share with Fab some of the words?
He could get away with that though. Like he's like the quirky white boy that could get away with like.
You know what, yo? It's always a crazy white boy gets away with some shit, right?
well, listen, let me tell you one thing, white people. White boys have worked very hard at one thing. Getting away with gay jokes is one of them.
Right.
We've been doing
like
homoerotic.
like it's all like Seth Rogen. Like you know how they did the Bound video.
yeah.
Like they could get away with
It's
that.
different.
They're cool.
It's a totally different ballgame.
Now, two black dudes is career ending. Like you know what I'm saying? It's just over with. It's never gonna end. People are always gonna ask them about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, who knows? I don't know how many people are going to come at me funny style after I told LL Cool J that the ultimate way I want to show him that I have a problem with him is that I want to try to give him dome. I don't think there's some people aren't going to like that.
Yo, you went too far, B.
But listen,
That one
I didn't
was-
mean to. It just rhymed with home. I'm not a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I just crush MCs a lot. Whoa,
Yeah.
that still sounded crazy.
But that it was in your mind to go to that.
Yep.
If you're freestyling and like gay bars come out
No,
of
no.
your mental,
That's all that comes out when I
what's-
freestyle.
Yo,
I don't know why.
Yo, B, I'm just,
Yo,
you know,
Fab, listen.
I wanted to see if Fab was gonna put his hand on your shoulder again after that.
Hey, Fab, be easy. Let's not battle
move my
again.
strap over a little bit.
Where are you going? Come back over here.
Let me stay out of arm reach of you.
Oh, that's a shame.
Why, he might put his hand on your knee.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm going to put my hand on your knee. Y'all got mad rhymes. What does that mean? We don't know.
Fab, Rock Nation.
Yeah.
Just a natural progression for your career.
Yeah, we just trying to build a brand, and I think Rock Nation has, stepped in on a lot of people's careers and made some moves. Back to that word, moves. Hashtag that, and that's what it's about when you're securing your brand. You know what I'm saying? I think on the music side, I do what I do, but there's also one of the things we talked about earlier. Why you think it hasn't been put on the forefront is maybe the moves haven't been highlighted so that people could.
Do you feel like in
that.
retrospect, you think you made some mistakes with your brand looking back?
Not really, because if I think everything that's happened to this point has happened for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have signed to G Unit in 05 or 06, and I may be in a different place than I am today. Or I could have stayed at Interscope when they fired Clue and asked me did I want to stay on Interscope or go with Clue. So, you know, the things that I've done in my career, you know, have led me to the place that I am now, and I'm comfortable with that. And, you know, those are also moves that I did as a man that I thought were right to do. You know what I'm saying? Me staying at Interscope and leaving Clue because it was a record deal on the table. I felt like he brought me in to even get that record deal. So why would I go against that just to, you know what I mean? Even though it was a big decision at the same time, you know, you working from the streets to get a record deal. So for me to give back my record deal to go leave with my boy who says, yo, we going to find another record deal. You kind of like, all right.
Yeah, are we?
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know, you know. There's guys who have record deals, and the key word is had. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I made the decision just based on my loyalty as a person and how I move and how I was even at that time in a younger dude. But, you know, I felt like that was the right move to make. And, you know, it's led me to where I am today. And Clue is still you know, behind me, pause, and everything is still rolling in that situation.
Do you work the moves #moves that you're about to make? What do you want to see happen? What do you look? What don't you have in your brand associated with your brand? What can we look for that you're gonna make happen?
Well, it's a lot of things. I don't want to put all on the table as I'm talking about it before it gets done, but there's a lot of things that you probably even associate me with. And, you know, when you say style or when you say, you know, somebody's fly or sneaker, you know, I don't have those kind of things in my, let's say Kanye. If you look at Kanye's style, it makes sense because he does have a shoe. He's connected to certain brands, but, you know, and it's highlighted because they know of that. Whereas brands or people know me in general for doing that, but I don't have the brand behind it to stamp that. And that's one of the things that for 2015 we definitely use it. Because
I definitely saw the Beats thing. Mm-hmm. I did not see Rockaware.
Yeah,
that's but I saw and I was actually impressed by that. You know, I didn't know what to expect from Rockaware, but I saw that it was the new Black line or whatever that's called.
That was an evolution of their line. So it made sense to me because when I first went in there, I was just thinking that, all right, y'all gonna be selling old Jay-Z t-shirts, and that wasn't the case. It was, you know, the evolution of the line is stuff that you could wear in 2014. It ain't a bunch of logo driven stuff. It's cool, clean pieces. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's why I work with what I was doing, because I'm also an evolution of myself. You know what I'm saying? If you look at me in 2001 versus 2014, you'll see a lot has changed. You'll see a lot of progression in what I do and how I do it. And you know, that's where the Rockaware relationship, you know, was able to work.
After last year's Summer Jam, the local scene here in New York City had got a little tumultuous, right? After 50 and Slow had their little thing on stage. That thing kind of bubbled out, and rumor had it that you had your team or somebody in your team, there was some funk backstage of the show. Yeah. What's the real story to that?
The real story is, well, I guess they kind of felt the way with my boy about the Slow situation, which is really a touchy situation, because I had a lot of love for Slow because, you know, Slow is a good dude overall, and you know, it just went in a direction where, you know, I don't want to put anybody's names or anything in it, but like I just rather us be us and y'all be y'all now. You know what I'm saying? Because it went a different way.
It was fucking up the money.
Nah, it definitely didn't touch none of the money, but for y'all to, you know, look at us in that situation, first of all, y'all know where that situation lied and where it came from. Y'all have a problem or issue with 50. Y'all deal with 50 in that. Don't look to my boy as the middleman between something issue. And it was like kind of they looked at that as like we have to blame somebody, so we're gonna blame y'all for what transpired when y'all supposed to, y'all got to handle y'all business. That's in y'all backyard, first of all. That's an issue that's between y'all. So, you know, if y'all want to deal with it, y'all deal with where it came from. And whether you felt a way about my boy not supposedly standing up for Slow is on the side of that. But y'all know where y'all issue has, where it lies and where it come from. So it was kind of sucker for y'all to say, yeah, we're going to look at y'all or look at him as a reason.
They was just lashing out at anybody that they could blame.
Right.
Damn.
And
well, I think everybody's moved on from that past situation. I think things feel simmered down.
Yeah, I mean, it was an issue because you have two people that really we really out here in New York. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't advocate that. I'm not trying to run around and but we really out here. Like, we not sitting at home. We're not, you know, we not so up that we not, you know,
with the people, we moving around.
Yeah, we out here. So, you know, if there's really an issue, the issue is going, you know, it's going to get addressed regardless. So, you know what I'm saying? We chose to just, you know, just say, well, we'll be over here, and y'all, you know, we could progress in different ways. Like Slow is a good dude, you know what I'm saying? The team that's around him, I just can't, you know what I'm saying? So that means that I can't deal with Slow.
You gotta separate yourself from
right.
Fab, man, appreciate the real talk, B. Sorry I missed the birthday.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I got the invite, but, you know, I'm a new father.
You got an invite. See? We had a whole discussion about this before you walked in.
Now, there's no way in the world that Ebro would get an invite and we wouldn't invite the whole squad.
Why weren't we invited?
Listen, my relationship with Fab is much different than y'all's. I've known Fab a long time.
Okay.
So, I don't know why he didn't text y'all. He texted me.
So how come you didn't invite us?
He also, I think he sent it through.
Numbers,
I think he sent it through like DM on Instagram too. He must not follow y'all on Instagram.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't follow y'all on Instagram.
Thanks for specifying that, Fab.
Yo, you boom. One thing that I'm upset about you though, Ebro,
go ahead, come on,
is that I kind of wore this Raiders jacket, try to, you know what I'm saying,
I don't right now. Listen, let's talk about my Raiders.
Yeah,
now
right.
we've won one game less than the Redskins. We've won, I think, the same amount as the Jets.
Nah, but fuck the Raiders, though. You didn't highlight the rep. I just tried to rep
the jacket.
We asked him as soon as he walked in if he wore that for you.
And listen, he wore it because that is the best NFL merch in the history of the league. Now, I appreciate you. There's nothing better than Raiders gear. Nobody could even fix their mouth to say that.
It's scorching. It's scorching legendary. No, I think
legendary, though.
What?
It may be number one.
Somebody say a team, please.
49ers is kind of ill.
Fuck out of here, B.
Oh, you
I
just
just
heard.
like
Yo,
the
hold
black
on.
Out of here.
49ers are kind of ill.
Yo,
keep going. He hates the 49ers.
Yo,
Cowboys
shit is trash.
Oh my!
Cowboys are kind of the
trash.
Serious.
Go back to 49ers.
Trash.
But the Raiders are
49ers though.
Yo, the Raiders are legend, and I wore it because it's 90s because the NWA what they did to it too.
Yes.
But I thought that you would even just
Yo,
peep
the
it.
Niners gear though.
He was just
No.
I didn't cancel. He was ending the interview without even any. He was gone.
Fuck the Niners, bro.
Joe Montana, Jerry Rice.
No, listen. The reason I didn't acknowledge it is because I don't acknowledge the Raiders when we're not performing the way we should.
No, you're performing exactly how you should.
No, that's not how we should.
No, it's the Raiders we're talking about.
How many rings the Redskins got?
The 3.
How many the Redskins got? How many the Raiders got?
2, 3.
We got 3 too.
Okay, we both.
Actually, wait.
We're both garbage now. Y'all might have more.
We got 3.
You have 3? We're both garbage now. But don't ever say that the Raiders are supposed to. The Raiders are supposed to be the worst team in the league.
I think the Redskins do have more talent than the Raiders have right now.
Which makes their L's even worse.
We're worse.
Fam,
worse.
if we have a quarterback and a running back and a coach and a
we don't have a coach.
The last time we had that.
We don't have a coach, but we do have Alfred Morris.
Who's to blame for that, though?
The Redskins?
Is it Al Davis? Is it?
The Raiders.
Rest in peace, Al Davis. But yes, him on his way out, he was not making correct decisions. And I'm going to say this on camera. His son, fix your hair, B. We can't fix a team until you fix that hair.
Okay.
It's important.
His hair, he wears a bowl cut, my dude. Like, come on.
You got to fix it. You got to get it right.
This can't be. No.
Raiders gear is legendary though. It's a nice.
What is that by the way? Which company? Which one is that? Is that a starter piece?
No, it's not starter. It's I think
Pro
it's
line
chalk line
or chalk line?
Yeah. So
That's
Speaking of
deep in the-
gear,
that's
we
deep in
and 90s, I did want to talk to you about throwbacks. I am told that you still have a collection of throwback jerseys that are entirely too large to wear
talked
because
about-
in the 90s. You guys talked
we had
about
this whole
something.
time, yeah.
What are you doing with those jerseys?
They're just in storage. You know what I'm saying? I tried to. Well, before I actually donated some to Rosenberg.
I got a call. Yeah, he gave some to charity.
Gave
Yeah,
some to his
dope.
charitable
He
organization.
listen. He should have went down after Hurricane Katrina and built houses out of those jerseys because those things you could put a family of 4 in one of his size 58 jerseys from back
He
in
told
the
us
day.
he tried to get some of them taken in, see if he could like. Nah.
But the numbers
But
are too big.
The numbers are like
Like-
from your knee to your neck.
To your
Like
neck.
it's a 9 this big. It's like, yo, why you have a regular size jersey on and the number is hanging off the end of the jersey?
What is the most headbands that you wore at one time?
Ooh, headband game clean.
Because your head.
I never
never
did the
did
2 thing.
Wristbands.
I never did. I
do
did
wristbands too?
wristbands. Wristbands was cool at one
You ever
point.
do batting gloves?
I did batting gloves one time too.
Did you do the goggles?
I never did goggles.
One leg up.
I did one leg
Hell
up.
yeah, you did one leg up.
That's an LL Cool J special right there. You should know that.
Meatball.
You should know that.
Yo, LL, you would wear one leg up. Matter of fact, yo, you know what? I'm gonna save it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
please
save it.
don't.
He ain't ready for it. He ain't ready for it. He don't want these rhymes. He don't want these bars.
Please don't associate me to any kind of I just don't want to be in
That's
that
right,
blog.
Fab.
That's
Hey, yo,
like,
Fab,
that's
let's
gonna
get him.
come from
Yo,
like
yo, Fab,
Rosenberg
yo, Fab.
Yo, I
with
got my
more
man-
LL blogs while Fab's there. I don't want to just be connected to that blog.
Hey, yo,
I don't
I
want
got
to be
my
tagged
man.
in that.
I
Like,
got my man Fab
pause.
with me right now. Me and Fab are up here. We about to drop these bars at you,
Oh,
LL.
man, no.